This building may have been built during the Modi regime, but it is going to stand there long after Modi is gone. Why cannot the opposition join these celebrations? Because it has to be about the spirit of democracy. It has to be about the spirit of constructive opposition. Why oppose for opposition's sake?
The Honorable President, who is the head of the Parliament, should be requested by the government to inaugurate. The Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, has every right to be there. We are only pointing out to what is constitutionally correct.
जहाँ तक मुझे याद आता है 87 की 15 अगस्त 87 में राजीव जी जब प्रधानमंत्री थे उन्होंने पार्लियामेंट लाइब्रेरी की ये होमवर्क करते नहीं अपना।
All right, let's go straight across to our talking point this evening. Joining us, Shehzad Poonawala, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Ajay Kumar is National Spokesperson of the Congress Party. He'll be joining us in a moment. Javed Ansari, Senior Journalist. Riju Datta of the TMC is also on the panel this evening. Shehzad Poonawala, what the opposition is saying is two things. One, that this is a vanity project. There was no need for a new parliament building. This was a vanity project by the Prime Minister. And two, they're saying that if at all anyone should inaugurate this new building, it should be the President and not the Prime Minister.
So first things first, if it was a vanity now, then how come, can you please connect the echo? There's an echo.
Yeah, we'll fix that. Yeah, but go on.
If this was a vanity in 2022, how come it was a priority in 2011-2012 where Mr. Jairam Ramesh and no less than Meera Kumar, the Speaker, herself gave approval for the new building. So 2012 may priority, but now it has become vanity. So this shows the hypocrisy, and Congress is the mother of hypocrisy. Now, as far as the President is concerned, first of all, on the constitutional scheme of things, let me tell you, Zaka, the President heads the executive, the legislature is Parliament, the Parliament is headed is by the Speaker has invited the Prime Minister, who also sits in Parliament. The President actually doesn't sit in Parliament. And if this was constitutionally incorrect, Zaka, not only the instances of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, who inaugurated various parliamentary installations, but let me show you something very interesting. This is the picture of the assembly of Manipur being inaugurated by whom? Not even the governor of Manipur or the chief minister, by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. This is another interesting one. Tamil Nadu assembly, not by the governor, by Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh. And this is Tripura assembly. Now pray and tell me, if the President should be inaugurating the Parliament building, then how come Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was inaugurating assembly building? Shouldn't it have been the governor? But forget that also. If they have so much newfound respect for the Honorable President, they should now start by saying sorry that we did not vote for her. Instead, we voted for a turncoat like Yashwant Sinha. And they must also tell us that this is the same Congress party, and Ajay Kumar is joining us, who called her a person, quote unquote, of evil mindset.
Okay.
In fact, the JMM took opposition to that. So much for the Samman for Draupadi Murmuji, they boycotted her first speech. So please, I think this newfound respect that they have, having said that, it doesn't evade the fact that Congress, every project which is done in national interest, they do a U-turn and they start opposing it. Perhaps this time because they're not getting to eat any commission out of it.
So
maybe that's why. Or
let
maybe
me ask,
they don't like Atmanirbhar
let me ask
symbol.
Riju Datta, as we await Dr. Ajay Kumar's line to be put through. Riju Datta, today the TMC has become the first opposition party to officially say that you will not be part of the inauguration ceremony on Sunday. Now, I said this at the opening of my show as well, that this parliament building is going to long outlast Modi. Modi, is not going to be in power forever. But this parliament building is for all parliamentarians, for ruling party and for opposition. So tomorrow, those who are in opposition could be in power. Why don't you see this in the spirit of democracy, that this institution is going to far outlast individuals, and therefore when a new institution is being inaugurated, you should be part of it. Why are you boycotting it?
Right. Zaka, like you rightly pointed out, it's the temple of democracy. Now, if I am not very wrong, the other two big democratic nations, like the United Kingdom of the United States, their parliaments have been standing resolute since the 1700s. So all of a sudden, the Congress before and now the BJP have wanted this. Now, when the Central Vista project started, I clearly said it, and my party said it, that when it was started, it was in the midst of the COVID crisis where people were gasping for breath and dying due to lack of oxygen in Delhi. This project was being continued. Now, third point, we always believe that the president should inaugurate. Now, the counter claim that BJP said that Rajiv Gandhi opened the parliamentary library, they opened the Vidhan Sabha. Okay, if there is an annex building that the speaker can inaugurate, if there is a chai ka tapdi tomorrow inside the parliament, Shahzad can also inaugurate. But as the largest, as the temple of democracy, which will house the upper and the lower houses, we believe the head of the constitution, the president should inaugurate. This Sadat said we supported Yashwant Sinha. My leader Mamata Banerjee clearly came out and said if BJP would have announced their candidate Miss Murmu right at the onset, we would have supported Miss Murmu. So there is no contest.
No,
in
no, no,
that.
Riju, but once again,
lastly,
no,
Zaka,
you are saying, oh, you opposed it in 2020 when there was COVID and people were gasping for breath. That was 3 years ago. This is 2023,
now,
and this parliament building is probably going to be there for another 50, 60, maybe even 100 years, right?
Let it be there for 1,000
the question then is, why are you opposing something that is going to far outlast individual political personalities who may be there right now?
Because it is absolutely based on fundamentals. Prime Minister Modi, even though he is the Prime Minister of India, he is also the largest and the only leader of a political party that we oppose. So instead of him, I think when all the opposition parties are united and at dagger's head with the BJP, who is spearheaded by Prime Minister Modi, rather than making it a photo of the BJP, this might have to keep politics out of it. This should have been inaugurated by the president, who is completely non-political, and there wouldn't have been any politics over it.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. Ajoy Kumar. Let me bring in Dr. Ajoy Kumar of the Congress. Dr. Ajoy Kumar, you heard from Hardeep Puri, the minister today, saying that, in 1975, when the Parliament Annexi building was opened, it was opened by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. In 1987, when the library building in Parliament was opened, it was opened by the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. If it is kosher for two former Prime Ministers of the Congress party to inaugurate new buildings that have come up within the Parliament complex, why is it not kosher or not okay for the current Prime Minister to inaugurate the new Parliament building?
So, Zaka, according to this logic, what you're trying to say is that the Parliament is equal to a parliamentary library or a parliamentary canteen or parliamentary car park. The annexi is where you have the committee meetings and where the secretariat and a lot of people have offices and the CGHS. So Hardeep Puri ji is, definitely highly educated, but I don't know if he's, he seems to be awfully bad, very badly informed. If we go on a TV and say these kind of things, tomorrow, if you are going to Zaka, there is a new car shed being opened in the Parliament. So is that equal to inaugurating the Parliament? The first question. So Mr. Puri is totally, has just exhibited that when you have to protect Mr. Modi, you should be ready to go to ridiculous extent and make a mockery of your own intellect. There is no comparison between an annexi or a library and the Parliament. First, and my colleague was speaking before. You had correctly said that. Look, there has been history to it. Why are we? It's not a question of whether Mr. Modi, whether it's going to outlast anybody or not outlast anybody. The fact is, this Parliament, the original Parliament, was based on Indian architecture drawn from a very well-known temple in Morena district of Madhya Pradesh. It was taken with a lot of Indian ethos taking into consideration. It's a historical building. Now, can you imagine the Westminster Abbey, the British Parliament without Westminster Abbey? Can you imagine the US Congress without the Capitol Hill? And suddenly you say that Trump wanted to suddenly, because he suddenly had this urge after naming a stadium after himself. He decided to also now make a parliament building and inaugurate it.
No, but Dr. Ajay Kumar, the sanction for this new parliament building was given by the UPA when the UPA was in power. Jairam Ramesh was the minister concerned at that time. Meera Kumar was the Speaker of the House at that time. So you also recognize the need that after delimitation in 2026, the strength of the Lok Sabha will increase, the strength of the Rajya Sabha will increase. Parliament will have to seat something like 1,200 MPs. You realize that as well. You recognize that need, and that's why when the UPA 2 was in power, you signed off on it. Mr. Modi is implementing only something that you signed off on.
So there is a great deal of untruths on this whole story. The new parliament, the existing parliament, I won't call it the old parliament, needed considerable amount of repair work, and that was under discussion that what we need to do to fix that issue. So that was the debate, and I don't know. I have not seen. So it's like an urban legend which is going around, and Zaka, it's for you and me. I'm quite clear that there was no sign off on any kind of new parliamentary building during that period of time when I was very much in the parliament at that time, and I don't even remember that at all. I don't see that paper at all. These parties and the party guys keep. And I would like to be.
Shehzad is showing us some paper. I believe it's the paper which has the sign off.
Shehzad's papers are, please, any paper he will show that is, you do the research and show it to me on the TV. I would be very glad.
Zaka, I don't think I'm here to be. No, Zaka,
No,
this is absolutely unfair. This attack is uncalled for. Zaka, I do not appreciate this kind of, random open house assault on my integrity. No, Zaka, this is beyond political decorum.
Okay.
No, Zaka, I think you should stop it. I am showing a document which is in the public domain. It is on the table of Parliament. Please, Zaka, I should have an opportunity to defend my honor.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you from defending. I'm not stopping you from defending. You are showing a paper.
Please.
Mr. Kumar says that there is no such paper.
Please let me make a few points.
No, one second. I just want to clarify for our viewers. Shehzad is showing a document which he says is the UPA signing off on this new parliament building or to renovate the existing parliament building. Let Shehzad now respond to that. I also have to go to Javed Ansari.
Hey, Zaka, there is a guy who sits in your studio.
We will get it checked. Yes, we will get it checked by him.
Can I complete, Mr. Punawala?
Yes. Zaka, I beseech your indulgence.
One second, Dr. Kumar, you made an accusation against Shehzad. Let him respond, please. Let him respond. Yeah, Shehzad. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Zaka, please take the necessary action so that I can have my word out.
I
request you. Thank you. Yeah. Zaka, already the panelists 2 versus 1 and everybody speaking long monologues. Let me now put on some facts. I am quoting a letter by Radhe Shah, Officer on Special Duty to Honorable Meena Kumar, 13 July 2012. I am willing to stake my political career on this. If I lie about this document on your channel, I promise to your audience I will not appear on any television show from now. Please get it checked and I'll read to you what it says. The paragraph says, considering, I'm reading para 2, the entire description of how old this building is. By the way, Meera Kumar said that this building was not meant for a legislature of a free democracy. It was meant as an imperial building and built in 1927. She says in para 2, the officer says, considering all the above facts, Honorable Lok Sabha Speaker has accorded approval for the proposal for construction of a new parliament building. Read my lips. And if I am lying about this, I am willing to quit politics. If not, then Mr. Ajay Kumar will apologize to me on air.
Okay, secondly, I want to go to Javed Ansari also. Sir, one second, please. Play. He's been waiting very patiently. It's been 15 minutes. Shehzad, please, 1 second.
Yeah, but
1 second.
Javed Ansari.
Javed Ansari, please. I'm going to Javed Ansari. Javed Ansari. Wait, Shehzad, come on. You wanted to make a rebuttal. You made the rebuttal. Now I'm going to my next panelist. Now, Javed Ansari. The point is that whether there was a need for a new parliament building or whether there was no need, that is not the issue here. The issue here is simply that the government of the day, of course with the Speaker's permission and his authority, has decided to build a new parliament building. The provisions were in motion for a number of years now, and now it's time for inauguration. And like I said, it is a parliament building. It's not It's not meant for one political party or another. Today there is one ruling party, tomorrow there could be another. If the opposition, and today the TMC is the first to boycott, we're given to understand that the opposition is mulling a joint boycott. All opposition parties are going to boycott the inauguration. Wouldn't that send an absolute wrong signal about democracy in India, about there should be some things that are above political partisanship, and the opening of a new parliament building should be one such?
Yes, Zaka, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There are some issues which should be above politics, and in an ideal world, in a perfect political world, the inauguration of a new parliament building should be one such case. I, for one, would have been very happy if the President of India had inaugurated this. But now the government, in its wisdom, has taken a position that the Prime Minister will inaugurate it. So be it. The opposition has made its point, but I certainly, this bad blood can be avoided. I do not believe that the government is breaking any rule by getting the Prime Minister to inaugurate it. It would have been, propriety-wise, it would have been better if the President and the head of the state had inaugurated it, primarily because the parliamentary year commences with the budget session. And it's the President of India, not the Vice President, not the Prime Minister, not the Speaker, nobody else. It's the President of India who addresses a joint sitting. It's only the President of India who addresses a joint sitting of Parliament. And since this grand occasion will involve MPs from both houses, it would have been in the fitness of things. But now that the government has decided, I think it's still not too late. People should come, the parliamentarians should come together and demonstrate that yes, while we vigorously manifest or give vent to our opposition, there are occasions where we can even come together, and this should be one such occasion.
Dr. Ajay Kumar, on the point about your party saying that President Murmu should have been the person who should have inaugurated this, the BJP's claim is that, how come you have this newfound love for our first tribal president? When she was put up as a candidate, you did not support her. And you in particular, Dr. Kumar, had said some not particularly nice things about her during the campaign.
So Zaka, I want you to run that video because I take great umbrage on that. I said she's a decent person. The ANI has got it, I got it. So and I will resend it to you. Send me your mobile number. I'll resend. No, Zaka, I have your mobile number. I said she's a decent person representing an evil philosophy. For that matter, Shahzad Poonawalla said what not he said against Mr. Modi during demonetization. So Shahzad, I did a lot of homework on what all you said to Mr. Modi. So there's a lot of stuff. So if you wanted to, and you can run my the actual recording. She's a decent person and represents an evil philosophy. And Mr. Poonawalla is not so decent person representing an evil philosophy. I said that in a previous show. I'll continue to say it. So this misquoting is unfortunate and typical BJP speak. Once I complete.
Dr. Kumar, you're a senior spokesperson. Let's refrain from personal attacks, please. Let's refrain from personal attacks.
Please tell him to stop,
No. You can't keep making these personal attacks and not expect people to react.
Please let me complete. Let me complete.
Yeah. No. You can complete, but I request you for the second time on the show.
I am not going to take
Please don't make these personal attacks, because if you make a personal attack, then you should also have the wherewithal to take one back. You will get it back in the same point. But again, can we set aside our personal egos here? No, once again, please answer the question I asked you. Please answer the question that I asked you, which is that when candidate Murmu was proposed,
Ajay Kumar, if I start making you taste your medicine, you will probably not be in a fit position to appear for
guys, one second. Can we have some decorum here, please?
Have fun.
Can we have some decorum here, please?
I don't debate usually
let me have Dr. Ajay Kumar on the
I don't debate with the likes of
Let me have Dr. Ajay Kumar on the frame.
Zaka, I can't hear if he keeps talking.
I'm telling my producers, okay, Dr. Ajay Kumar, I have a very simple question. Please answer the larger question. Please refrain from personal attacks. The simple larger question I'm asking you is, when candidate Murmu was proposed by the BJP, you knew that this was a historic opportunity to elect India's first ever tribal president. You had no love lost for her then. When I mean you, I mean the Congress party and the rest of the opposition. Suddenly you are now saying that she should be the one who should inaugurate the new parliament building?
So when Meera Kumar was, so my question again is, when Mr. Narayan was fighting, when Mr. Narayan was fighting the election, the Bharatiya Janata Party supported him, is it? Because he was a scheduled caste leader? He came from the scheduled caste community? Is this kind of a specious logic you're going to do it? And then if Mr. Modi was so concerned, why didn't he call the then President, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, for the inauguration? Now, this specious argument is quite interesting. Meera Kumari ji was the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Did the Bharatiya Janata Party support her? So, question is, it's a political. You can't equate a political stand. So, with Mr. Narayan fighting the election or Mr. Zail Singh fighting the election, did the Bharatiya Janata Party support us?
Okay.
So.
Shehzad Poonawalla is back
Zaka,
on the show.
Logic, I mean, when you extrapolate it to
the point being made, Shehzad, is you never supported the first Dalit president of India. You never supported the first Dalit speaker of the Lok Sabha. So why should you expect the Congress to support you?
Zaka, in the interest of this debate to be fair, there are 2 versus 1 in the panel. I would request you to at least ensure that I'm not interrupted, if not insulted. Can I have that assurance from you? Because I have great regard for you, Zaka.
Yeah, go on.
May I make my points in that? Yeah, thank you. Zaka, forget Shehzad Poonawalla. Here is a JMM MLA who sought apology from this person saying that his remark was derogatory. Please see this. JMM MLA. It's because it's too white, you can't see it. JMM MLA. I'll send you the report. Just like the report I read about Mr. Shyam Radhe's statement, which was OSD to Meera Kumar.
See the recording.
So we did not go around calling Meera Kumar or Zaka.
Go on, Shehzad. Go on. I'm listening to you. Go.
Zaka, may I please complete?
Yes, go on. I'm waiting for you to finish.
Dr.
Ajay Kumar,
why is he interrupting my
please.
It's a
I gave you uninterrupted time. Let me
It is 3 versus 1, goddammit.
Shehzad, okay. Shehzad, calm down. Go ahead, make your point. I'm listening to you.
No, I'm very upset, with the balance of the panel, and if you won't even allow me a statement
Shehzad,
without
I'm listening
being,
to you.
begging my time.
You are the only person on frame. Please calm down, have a glass of water and make your point.
Yeah, thank you. Secondly, Zaka, so we did not go around insulting, abusing their candidates by saying that they were evil mindset. None of our allies took that umbrage. Point number 1. Point number 2. A point was made by my friend Riju Datta about the COVID splurge. This project, Parliament, 850 crores, went to High Court and Supreme Court. The High Court and Supreme Court fined the petitioners and said this was a project in national interest. On the other hand, there was a project being made by the MBA government, a 900 crore project, which was being done only for MLA hostel. How come Mr. Riju Datta never found any problem with that COVID splurge, which was not cleared by any courts? Let's leave that hypocrisy aside. Thirdly, Zaka, I was very clear in my introduction. I did not talk about the annex buildings of Parliament. You can't probably compare the two. I agree with you. But the assembly buildings of Tripura, Manipur are equally important in the democratic structure of the state, and they talk about federalism. So why were they being inaugurated by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh? No answer to that. Point number 4. Zaka, I am a student of constitutional law. In the constitution, we envisage legislative, executive, and the judiciary, 3 organs of government. Now the legislature is represented by Parliament, the executive is represented by the President and the Council of Ministers and others. The Parliament is represented by the Speaker. It is not the government. Javed Ansari, I have great regard for him. The government has not taken a call. The Speaker's office, which is an independent institution, has taken a call to invite the Prime Minister, whom they feel will represent the legislature better than the President, because the President doesn't sit in the legislature. Therefore, from constitutional perspective also, this is completely proper decision. Okay. If it is not, please tell me who heads the legislature. Does the President sit in the legislature?
Okay, so Javed, respond to that. It is the Speaker's office that has invited the Prime Minister, and that is protocol. It is the Speaker who is the head of the Lok Sabha, and of course the Vice President is the head of the Rajya Sabha, and it's in his capacity as the head of the Lok Sabha that he has invited the Prime Minister to inaugurate the new Parliament building. That's the contention by Shehzad Poonawalla. Javed.
Yes, so fine. I agree with Shehzad that it's the Speaker. Whether it's the Speaker or the Vice President, the point I made was that propriety-wise it would have been better, because it's the President of India who addresses he's the only person who addresses the joint sitting of Parliament. Having
Okay.
said that, if the speaker or the vice president or the chairman of the Rajya Sabha have in their wisdom decided, fine, go ahead with it. I said earlier and I reiterate now, there should be a boycott. There should not be a boycott. There are some occasions when we need to rise above our political ends, above our political
Riju
affiliations.
Datta,
This is a new parliament building which is being dedicated to the nation, and it will outlive all present parliamentarians, all of us debating this. This is an institution.
This was just a
so let's honor that
sarkari
institution.
function just meant for the ruling party, then there was no need for the Speaker's office to extend invitations to all the leaders of the opposition parties. All the parliamentary leaders of all opposition parties have been extended an invitation. So, you know, ultimately, this is, like I said, about both ruling and opposition parties. They've all been extended an invitation. And if the heads of the opposition parties in parliament are being extended an invitation, then surely the head of the ruling party will also be extended an invitation. The Prime Minister is the leader of the House, in the lower house.
Yeah, but there is also another upper house as well. But like I said, you know, even
Yes,
in
upper
Bengal,
house leaders, parliamentary leaders from the upper house have also all been given
Yes,
invitations,
but
including your leaders.
Let me just finish. You know, in Bengal also there are multiple places that is inaugurated by the Honorable Chief Minister, where we send our letter of invitation to the leader of the opposition. But BJP do not attend. Now, not going into whataboutery, let me come directly to the point. The point is, we believe, the Trinamool Congress believes that this is nothing but a photo op for the tallest leader of BJP to show that, okay, I have built the parliament. And as simple as that, if this wouldn't have been done by the BJP, if Mr. Modi wouldn't have inaugurated the parliament would have been inaugurated by the president, then would have been no politics over it.
No, but how
Second
can
point,
it be
now
a
coming to
photo
the
op?
second-
Like Javed also said,
I'm
this
telling
parliament
you,
is going
I'm
to
telling you.
outlive every single parliamentarian.
I am coming to that. Now, what is the date the parliament is getting inaugurated on? Another controversial date which is used by BJP as a propaganda.
Okay.
If you have faith in the constitution,
Why is
if
that?
you have faith in the
Why is that?
Because that particular day is only and only celebrated by BJP as Savarkar Divas. It is a fact. If you have an iota of respect for democracy and independence, you could have inaugurated the parliament on 15th of August, on 14th of April, B.R. Ambedkar's Janam Divas, or on 26th November, which is the Constitution Day.
Okay.
But none of these dates are concerned. Now, the third point. The third point I want to mention here is when Shahzad was going on about why governors were not considered. Now, one of their ex-governor of Kashmir and Goa, Mr. Satyapal Malik, has clearly said in front of national television that the president's book is now controlled by the PMO. I don't know that's a fact or that's fiction, but he said it in front of national
Anyway,
TV.
that's
So who knows?
that's a
The
relatively
PMO
less
only
moot
decided
point. But
this.
I think okay, on the point that you made about the date that was chosen, Shahzad, respond. Not just the TMC, I think Congress has also made this a point that why the hurry to inaugurate this on 28th May, which is Savarkar Divas, and only the BJP celebrates Savarkar Divas. Surely you could have waited for Independence Day or for 14th April, which
It's a
is
photo
Ambedkar
op
Jayanti,
for the
Constitution
BJP
Day on the
Narendra Modi.
26th of
That's all.
November. Yeah, please respond, Shahzad.
The date has been chosen by the Honorable Speaker. And having said that, is Uddhav Sena with us? Please do ask Uddhav Sena if the birth date of Veer Savarkarji is important for them or not. Please ask Indira Gandhi ji, who wrote glorious letter for Savarkarji, Yashwant Rao Chavan ji, Sharad Pawar ji. In fact, Sharad Pawar ji even chastised the Congress on Savarkar's contributions. Please ask them, and in fact, even the communists like Mr. Dange had praised him. So let's not get into that. Secondly, please ask Mr. Riju Datta if he's so caring about protocol. Here is a picture of Mamata Banerjee not even giving the basic protocol to Jagdeep Dhankar and not receiving him when she was the chief minister and he was the governor. So they should be the last people talking about propriety and protocol. And my dear friend Javed Ansari ji, whom I regard a lot because I've learnt a lot from him when I was in Congress and he was covering Congress beat. Sir, you are talking about propriety, that is a subjective issue. I quoted constitution, which is an objective issue. But sir, with all due respect and regard, here is the opposition, including TMC, if I'm correct, they boycotted first speech of Murmuji. First speech of Murmuji. First Adivasi woman president giving her first speech. It was boycotted by these people. Now they are suddenly pretending to have respect and propriety and protocol. Do you buy this argument? And sir, I ask you with beseeching and folding hands, that how come Manmohan Singh was inaugurating the assembly buildings?
Okay.
What protocol or constitutional
So let me
propriety
ask
was
Dr.
that?
Ajay Kumar
I'm
that,
asking
and
you because
I'll
you're
wrap up
objective,
after
these
that.
people are not.
Dr. Ajay Kumar, when Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister, he inaugurated the new Manipur Assembly Complex. Both him and Sonia Gandhi inaugurated the Tamil Nadu Assembly Complex. So for then Prime Ministers to be inaugurating assembly complexes is fine, but for the current Prime Minister to inaugurate the new Parliament building is a crime?
First question is, if I remember the 3-4 points, and I would like you to give me some time. First of all, on the invitation of the government of Manipur and the invitation of the Tamil Nadu government, the invitation of the state government. So there was a rule. I don't know, the Lok Sabha invited the Prime Minister to inaugurate it. I'm not sure who invited whom, but any of the invitations for the inauguration of Manipur and Tamil Nadu came from the respective state assembly and the governments. Now that's point number one. Point number two is the issue is fundamentally, you know, this, if there's so much if they are pretending that, you know, we are showing false what we call outrage with not calling the president, we are saying that the president is the only person who can summon the parliament. All the MPs get an individual warrant to attend the first session of the parliament every year. The only person who can prorogue dissolve the parliament is the President of India, and that's why the President of India should be the person who should be inaugurating, and she represents neither the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. She represents the council. She's the head of the Council of Ministers, and that's why she would have been the most appropriate pick, because it's not a Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha issue.
Okay.
The second issue, which is most important, is that everybody wants to, you see a piece of history. The British seem to know it, the French know it, okay, the Canadians seem to know it, the Americans seem to know it. But somehow or the other, they're building a new building, and I was trying to see so the issue is to the history of the Indian democracy and continues to cherish your history. They keep saying we don't, we are for India's history and all, and this is what. The third important thing is, I keep searching for the facts which my colleague from the Bharatiya Janata Party said. I was Googling it because fortunately, even I have a 4G connection. Some people think I don't have it, so I just wanted to. So the search says that there was no paper which Meera Kumari formally wrote, and I need you to, and your research team can, do a good work on that. So that's the third issue. The fourth most important point is,
Zaka, was her OSD
apart from the constitution, one second, let me see, can I complete? See, again, Zaka, I cannot get into a discussion where there is such ill-mannered people on a debate.
No, so
I don't, Zaka, I refuse to speak. I refuse to speak because I'm not going to attend any debates with this gentleman because it's ridiculous.
Sir, one second.
It's really ridiculous.
Sir, one second.
I didn't interrupt him when he was speaking.
One second.
Why does he keep behaving so
I'm
childishly?
asking you a question. The question
Stop
was,
behaving, no.
did this then Speaker, Dr. Meera Kumar's OSD, write to her, quoting her, saying that there is a desperate need for a new parliament building?
So I'm trying to search for that, and there's a fact like that. So I'm not able to see. If Meera Kumar, if the then Speaker Meera Kumar wrote a letter quoting somebody who said Meera Kumar said, is not. One second, can I complete it, Madam Boss? Zaka, I cannot. I tell you,
one second. One second. Let him make his point. You're not allowing him to make his point. Let him make his point.
There is an epidemic of, there is. I mean, it's.
Answer the question, Dr. Kumar.
It's absolutely, in bad taste. Please show respect. I don't interrupt you. Please let me complete.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Please answer.
The fourth point, thank you, Zaka. And I told you, it would be good to research that and show me a paper. And the fourth point is, the migrant laborers during the COVID time and the construction and the activities, everybody went home and the migrant laborers were bought and the construction started, whatever be the period. It was during the worst period of COVID. Everything was set aside on this construction, and Prime Minister decided to do it as a pet project, etc., etc. But our fundamental issue is, and this is the most important, our issue is that the Constituent Assembly sat there. It is the fulcrum of the Indian Constitution, the history of the Indian Constitution. Could that building continue? Why doesn't the Americans could find a way to do it? The Britishers have found a way to do it. The French have found a way to do it. The Canadians have found a way. Everybody in the world has found a way to do it. So why couldn't we do it?
Okay. All right,
That is the
I'm going to wrap up.
basic
I'm
issue.
completely out of time. Like I said, I believe that there are certain things that are above politics. The inauguration of a new parliament building, which is going to outlast, as Javed Ansari rightly said, every single parliamentarian who is sitting in that building right now. If we can't put our differences aside for that and come together in the spirit of democracy, in the spirit of constructive opposition, then I'm afraid I don't know what is going to help us bridge our differences. But anyway, let's move on to the other story, and this is a pressing one that's come from the state of Kerala. There is a fresh showdown in Kerala between the CPM-led Travancore Devasam board, which controls all the temples, or almost all the temples in the state. They've now issued a notice banning RSS and its affiliated organizations from doing any gatherings in Hindu temples. The notice says that the use of temple properties and assets for holding any mass drills by groups like the RSS will be banned. The State Temple Board has promised strict action for violating this order, claiming that violations by the saffron groups have been increasing since 2016. The Devasam Board also says that nothing other than temple rituals and festivals should be held on the premises. The Congress has welcomed the move, accusing the RSS and other Sangh organizations of spreading hatred. The RSS has called it undemocratic, claiming it has never given weapons training in outside temples.
RSS is a Sangha Parivar organization. They are spreading hatred among the people. They are trying to make division among the people. The premises of the temple cannot be used for such purposes.
Shakhas and activities of RSS is going on according to the laws and rules prevailing in these countries. If anything against that thing happens here, the government can take an action.
Kerala Devasam Board is clearly manned by people who are irreligious, so-called secular, have no sense of dharma, because even gods of Hindus carry weapons. But RSS does not carry weapon. That itself is a false premise. They have alleged that RSS offices are storehouse of weapons.
All right, Tom Vadakan of the BJP is now joining us. Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya of the CPIM. Vivek Narayan is managing editor South for Network 18. Tom Vadakan, you heard from what the opposition leader there said, and he's not a left man. You heard from what the Devasam minister said, that they believe that temple premises are being used for weapons training, temple premises are being used for spreading the philosophy of hatred, and that's why they are banning organizations of RSS or any other organization which the CPM believes is spreading hatred from practicing mass drills outside temples that are controlled by the Devasam Board. Tom.
Zaka, the question that I would like to raise is, since 1958, Nambudripad government, and since then there's been no provocation. There was no issue at all. Now this business of appeasement has taken charge, and those that have been elected into Devasam are party representatives, and they do what the party wants them to do. And this, in 21 also this notification came, and now it is a repeat of it. So this is essentially a drill attempt on appeasement. There's no two doubts about it. This
no, but who are they appeasing?
Very peaceful.
Who are they appeasing
Very
by saying
peaceful.
that there can't be mass drills outside temples controlled by the board?
Come again?
Who are they appeasing?
They're appeasing a community which I don't want to name at this particular point. But the community also knows that this is a gimmick, and nothing more serious than that.
Okay.
Because there has been no riots in Kerala, and in fact they're the most peaceful, peace-loving people. It is this indicators that they try to create a situation where the RSS is involved in everything. The reality is RSS is a social, cultural organization. When the tsunami was on, I personally was in Kerala and I could see the kind of social service the RSS was doing. Neither was the CPM there nor the Congress there at that juncture.
Okay. So, Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya, the contention being made by the BJP and the RSS is there is the law of the land, and if there is anything that violates the law of the land in what they are doing, please take action with using the full force of the law. And as Tom said, Kerala prides itself in being one of the most peaceful states in the country. There are hardly any riots that have happened in that state. Therefore, on what basis are you saying that you will not allow RSS and its affiliate organizations to carry out activities in temple premises that are controlled by the Devasam board?
Let us first take it. What is the status of RSS? Is it a religious organization? Is it a political party? What is it? If it is not a religious organization, they don't have any right. Similar like any other organizations which have nothing to do with the religion or of a particular religion they profess. If the temple authority decides that they will not allow anybody to carry on activities which has nothing to do with the temple activities, what's the wrong in it? That's the most justified thing. And you see, your right to profess your so-called social cultural activities, that has not been interfered with. The temple authority feels that yes, we will not allow our premises to be used for any purposes conducted by RSS or its allied forces.
But the temple authority is controlled by a board which is essentially controlled by the government, Mr. Bhattacharya. Whether it is your government or the previous UDF government had its own political appointee.
That's true. That's true. That political appointee did not take a decision which really affects anybody's right. But any organization do not have any right to carry on activities which has nothing to do with the temple activities. Do some temple activities, and if the authority allows you, can carry on. Authorities did not take away any of your fundamental right, which the authorities cannot, and they did not do so. It appears from your own statement that the authorities said no.
But
activities of any organization
right to peaceful assembly is a fundamental right.
That's true. They did not disturb your right to peaceful assembly. They only said you cannot use my premises. Even the right to peaceful assembly is not permitted if the particular owner of a particular premises denies you right to use that premises.
All right, before I go to Vivek, Tom, respond to that. The RSS can continue with its shakhas. In fact, in Kerala, they have the highest number of shakhas in any state in the country. Nobody is stopping that.
Yes.
Zaka, the question that I demand an answer from the CPM is, when did the government control temples? And who are the elected people who are in these Devasam boards who decide what the government wants? The loot has been going on of Hindu temples. This does not happen with the church, does not happen with the mosque. And here is this total control, and the money that is captured by these people, and no work is being done in the temple, and this is basically an appeasement exercise to ensure that they win the next election.
So,
and
Vivek, is this entire thing, the moot point of it, is it the fact that these temples are controlled by the board, and there has been a section of the BJP and RSS that has been wanting to sort of free these temples from the board and from political interference thereof?
No, Zaka, it's something much more basic. It's very political in nature. Remember, as you rightly said, Kerala has about 5,000 working shakhas, and a couple of months back, they come out with a statement saying that we'll have 8,000 shakhas in a year's time. Now, those statements have rung a bell with the CPM. Remember, CPM in Kerala is not an atheist party. It's a Hindu party. If you look at the ballpark figures, if I can quote, the total population, out of the total population, 55% would be Hindu, around 25% would be Muslim, and roughly 20% Christian. Generally speaking, the Christian and Muslim population do not consider the Marxists as their natural ally. IUML, the party which claims to represent the Muslims, has almost never supported the CPM. And as the case, the Christian community, as well as the influential Orthodox Church and even few Catholics denominations, are more comfortable with the Congress. Now the CPM has realized, especially post the Sabrimala agitation, that we are a Hindu party. It is only the Hindu community, those 55% or half of them, they will be voting for us. So they have to ensure that there is a consolidation. Now for that, what they have done, the last Sri Krishna Jayanti, which is majorly seen as a Bala Gokulam or as an RSS event, you had an event in Kannur where Sri Krishna tableaus were taken by the CPM, the so-called atheist party. So it's a matter of survival where Pinarayi Vijayan-led CPM government has found a formula or thinks they have a formula for the next elections. It's a matter of survival that they need the Hindu votes irrespective of whether they are with the temple or not. And you would also see that till about a decade back, CPM was openly against its senior leadership going to the temples or being part of the entire temple propaganda. Now they are in a process of capturing in the sense, being part of the temple boards, whether it be Devaswam or non-Devaswam. But RSS, from what I gather, they have said that we are not bothered by all these things. There may be 1,200 Devaswam temples. There are enough places where we can go and do our shakhas. There is not going to be confrontation. But as I said, it is clearly seen and projected by the RSS as an anti-Hindu move.
One of the contentions, Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya, that Tom also raised, although not explicitly, is would you dare put out a notice like this for all churches in the state or for all mosques in the state? Would you disallow church-affiliated organizations from carrying out their activity outside church premises or in church complexes, or would you do the same with Muslims carrying out affiliated activity inside masjid premises and masjid complexes? You wouldn't. You wouldn't dare put out such a statement because the backlash to it would be quite heavy.
Premises, the foundation of your premises argument is absolutely false and is complete fallacy. This is not the decision of the government. This was the decision of the particular board who runs the management of the temple. If any church authority or any mosque authorities of anybody, even the RSS, if decides that they will not allow their particular premises to be used for any other purpose, who is going to prevent?
No, but Mr. Bhattacharya, you're being disingenuous there. Everybody knows that the Devaswam board is a political board. It has political appointees.
It doesn't matter.
There's even a Devaswam minister in the cabinet.
It has an independent...
There's nothing independent about it.
It has an independent status. They have the Devaswam trust has an independent status. This is not government.
Sir,
and if the
there
church
is a
today or the
Devaswam
mosque
minister.
today, even if the
Sir,
RSS decides...
Give me 10 seconds. There is a Devaswam minister who is a CPIM card-holding member of your party.
Doesn't matter. Even then, this is an independent body. If the government and the Devaswam Trust are two independent bodies, the government did not decide what is to be done by the temple authorities. Government cannot decide what will be done by the RSS authorities.
I don't think that's,
if the
that's
RSS
quite accurate.
Today, please allow me to complete.
No, one second. The Devaswam board, on top of the board sits the minister who is, like
this
I said, a card-carrying member of the party. And I'm not saying it happens only when the CPM is in power.
Matter.
Even when the UDF was in power, Congress appointees were there in the board. Anyway, but Tom, one of the points that the board keeps making from time to time is, you know, there probably are a handful of temples in Kerala which get a bulk of the money, donations and charities from the devotees. There are thousands of temples under the board. You know, if you were to depend on their own individual contributions of the devotees, none of those temples would be kept up. The upkeep would be very, very difficult. So you'll have 4 or 5 temples where a bulk of the faithful and the devotees throng, and those temples control a bulk of the monies. And if you had no board, the rest of the temples would be in a dilapidated condition.
That's not true, Zaka. If they were given an independent charge, the churches are running, the mosques are running. I mean, I'm sure they are well looked after, they are taken care of. And this whole business of looting the temples, I mean, is only attached to the Hindus. What kind of a logic is this? And this gentleman coming from CPM says, what does it matter? I mean, when you push all your members in there and take the diktats of your government and then say, well, what is there? We will do what we want. The point here is people of Kerala have woken up. This loot has been going on for quite some time. And now banning the RSS from the premises, who are they to decide? I mean, they have put all their members inside the Devaswam board and they dictate terms, and the government of the day says, you do this and give us the funding. And the funding goes somewhere else, not for the upkeep of the temple. If the churches can run and if the mosques can run without the help of the government, I'm sure the Hindu temples can do the same.
Okay. I'll give Vivek Narayan the final word. Is there merit in this argument? Will this become now the big political argument from the BJP and the RSS going into the 2026 assembly election, that you know, you have one set of rules for the Muslim community and for the Christian community, but for the Hindus, the temples have to be run. And by the way, this is not just in Kerala. In Tamil Nadu, you have an HRNC department. In Andhra Pradesh, you have again an endowments department which runs most temples in the state. So is this an argument that you're going to see increasingly in the run-up to the next election in the state?
Yes, Saka, it will be one of the issues which will be raised very strongly by the BJP. But if you look at what, just to take a leaf out of what Tom said, will you do that to the other two communities? Yes, they did. They did last year. They did try and do some kind of an auditing of the church-owned properties, and well, that one move of attempting to audit church-run properties ran into so much of resistance that they scampered. The CPM-led government refused to go ahead with it. Now they have understood that they cannot. As I said, my only point is that 55% of the Hindus cannot be alienated, is what the CPM has learned post Sabarimala, and they are trying desperately to capture the temples and make sure that the RSS does not come anywhere. There, the natural enemy or the so-called opponent of the CPM is the RSS, and that's exactly why they are trying to curtail. And when the RSS says, and in 1 year that we'll have 8,000 shakhas out of Kerala, that's something which is a matter of concern to them.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much to Vivek, Tom Vadakan and Mr. Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya for joining us. We'll see how this story plays out in the run-up to the next assembly election in Kerala. For now, this circular by the Devaswam Department stands unless, of course, it's challenged in court. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's in Australia for the third and final leg of his three-nation tour, he received a rousing welcome at the Kudos Arena at the Sydney Olympic Park, where he arrived with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Prime Minister Modi addressed over 20,000 Indian diaspora members. In his address, the Prime Minister emphasized on India-Australia ties and how the friendship between the two countries has strengthened over the years. There was also a mega program showcasing India's rich cultural heritage. The Prime Minister will hold a bilateral meeting with Albanese tomorrow, and the focus will be on trade, people-to-people exchanges, boosting regional cooperation and more.
भारत और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के ऐतिहासिक संबंधों का विस्तार इससे कहीं ज्यादा बड़ा है। सबसे बड़ा आधार है म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट और म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट। दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी और सबसे युवा टैलेंट फैक्ट्री जिस देश में है वो है सही जवाब दे रहे हैं आप, वो है इंडिया। जिन संभावनाओं को तलाश रही है उसमें ये स्वाभाविक भी है। भारत हजारों वर्षों की जीवंत सभ्यता है। भारत मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी है।
It is a huge pleasure to welcome Prime Minister Modi to Australia. In just my first year as Prime Minister, which I'm celebrating today, I have met the Prime Minister, my friend, 6 times. And what a joy it is to get to welcome Prime Minister Modi here with all of you. I said to my friend, the Prime Minister, before, the last time I saw someone on the stage here was Bruce Springsteen, and he didn't get the welcome that Prime Minister Modi has got. Prime Minister Modi is the boss.
How come it was a priority in 2011-2012 where Mr. Jairam Ramesh and no less than Meera Kumar, the Speaker, herself gave approval for the new building. So 2012 mein priority, but now it has become vanity. So this shows the hypocrisy, and Congress is the mother of hypocrisy. Now, as far as the President is concerned, first of all, on the constitutional scheme of things, let me tell you, Zaka, the President heads the executive, the legislature is Parliament, the Parliament is headed is by the Speaker has invited the Prime Minister, who also sits in Parliament. The President actually doesn't sit in Parliament, and if this was constitutionally incorrect, Zaka, not only the instances of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, who inaugurated various parliamentary installations, but let me show you something very interesting. This is the picture of the Assembly of Manipur being inaugurated by whom? Not even the Governor of Manipur or the Chief Minister, by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. This is another interesting one. Tamil Nadu Assembly, not by the Governor, by Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh. And this is Tripura Assembly. Now pray and tell me, if the president should be inaugurating the parliament building, then how come Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was inaugurating assembly buildings? Shouldn't it have been the governor? But forget that also. If they have so much newfound respect for the honorable president, they should now start by saying sorry that we did not vote for her. Instead, we voted for a turncoat like Yashwant Sinha. And they must also tell us that this is the same Congress party, and Ajay Kumar is joining us, who called her a person, quote unquote, of evil mindset.
Okay.
In fact, the JMM took opposition to that. So much for the Samman for Draupadi Murmuji, they boycotted her first speech. So please, I think this newfound respect that they have, having said that, it doesn't evade the fact that Congress, every project which is done in national interest, they do a U-turn and they start opposing it. Perhaps this time because they're not getting to eat any commission out of it. So maybe that's why, or maybe because they don't like Atmanirbhar.
Let me ask Riju Datta, as we await Dr. Ajay Kumar's line to be put through. Riju Datta, today the TMC has become the first opposition party to officially say that you will not be part of the inauguration ceremony on Sunday. Now, I said this at the opening of my show as well, that this parliament building is going to long outlast Modi. Modi, is not going to be in power forever. But this parliament building is for all parliamentarians, for ruling party and for opposition. So tomorrow, those who are in opposition could be in power. Why don't you see this in the spirit of democracy, that this institution is going to far outlast individuals, and therefore when a new institution is being inaugurated, you should be part of it. Why are you boycotting it?
Right. Zaka, like you rightly pointed out, it's the temple of democracy. Now, if I am not very wrong, the other two big democratic nations like the United Kingdom or the United States, their parliaments have been standing resolute since the 1700s. So all of a sudden, the Congress before and now the BJP have wanted this. Now when the Central Vista project started, I clearly said it and my party said it, that when it was started, it was in the midst of the COVID crisis where people were gasping for breath and dying due to lack of oxygen in Delhi. This project was being continued. Now, third point, we always believe that the president should inaugurate. Now, the counter claim that BJP said that Rajiv Gandhi opened the parliamentary library, they opened the Vidhan Sabha. Okay, if there is an annex building that the speaker can inaugurate, if there is a chai ka tapdi tomorrow inside the parliament, Shahzad can also inaugurate. But as the largest, as the temple of democracy, which will house the upper and the lower houses, we believe the head of the constitution, the president should inaugurate. This Shahzad said, we supported Yashwant Sinha. My leader Mamata Banerjee clearly came out and said, if BJP would have announced their candidate, Miss Murmu, right at the onset, we would have supported Miss Murmu. So there is no contest in that.
No, Riju, but once again, you are saying, oh, you opposed it in 2020 when there was COVID and people were gasping for breath. That was 3 years ago. This is 2023,
right,
and this parliament building is probably going to be there for another 50, 60, maybe even 100 years, right? The question then is, why are you opposing something that is going to far outlast individual political personalities who may be there right now?
Because it is absolutely based on fundamentals. Prime Minister Modi, even though he is the Prime Minister of India, he is also the largest and the only leader of a political party that we oppose. So instead of him, I think when all the opposition parties are united and at dagger's head with the BJP, who is spearheaded by Prime Minister Modi, rather than making it a photo of the BJP, this might have, to keep politics out of it, this should have been inaugurated by the president, who is completely non-political, and there wouldn't have been any politics over it.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. Ajay Kumar. Let me bring in Dr. Ajay Kumar of the Congress. Dr. Ajay Kumar, you heard from Hardeep Puri, the minister today, saying that, in 1975, when the Parliament Annexi building was opened, it was opened by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. In 1987, when the library building in Parliament was opened.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. The US is staring at a default, a debt default by the government. It could happen as soon as next Thursday. the 1st of June. President Joe Biden is trying hard to strike a deal with the Republicans, but it hasn't happened yet. On Vantage tonight, as we bring you the updates, we'll discuss what a US default will mean for the world. What will it mean for you, and why should you care? Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Australia and making news for a grand community event in Sydney, among other things. The WHO is back to pandering to China and keeping Taiwan out of its annual health assembly. The war in Ukraine has entered Russian territory, but Kiev denies any role in the attacks. India is striving hard to protect its image as the pharmacy of the world. It is cracking down on pharma companies that may be exporting substandard cough syrup.